Good afternoon, all. This is Campbell Phillips, editor of Power Retail, and I'm here to introduce the webinar topic for today. Presented by NetSuite, today's topic, implementing omnichannel systems to reduce new retail risks and costs, will be following a slightly different format compared to some of our previous webinars. In just a few moments, you'll have the pleasure of hearing Rob Hooton, VME of APAC at NetSuite, and Michael Sims, COO of Sellbikes, discuss the challenges and solutions involved in an omni-channel retail strategy. As usual, this audio-visual presentation will run for around 45 minutes, leaving 15 minutes of time for questions. You can ask a question at any time during the session simply by typing it into the questions panel of your GoToWebinar control panel. At the conclusion of the event, I will be seeking to upload a recording to YouTube as quickly as possible, and this will be available via the Power Retail homepage by the end of the day tomorrow. Without anything further, I'd like to welcome Rob and Michael to begin.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Rob Hooton, vertical market expert for e-commerce for Asia Pacific at NetSuite. And with me, I have Michael Sims, Chief Operating Officer of Sellbikes. So, as Campbell said, this is an interview format webinar. But first of all, I'll just introduce NetSuite and NetSuite's Omnichannel solution, and then we'll start speaking to Michael. So, just a bit of background about NetSuite. We are the world's #1 cloud ERP solution. And in the last 4 or 5 years, we've invested heavily in e-commerce and retail point of sale solutions that sit on top of our master data, our single source of truth ERP and CRM system. I won't go into much more detail on this slide, but we're used by over 20,000 companies worldwide now, and we're one of the only high growth ERP solutions out there. So without further ado, let me introduce Michael Sims, and we can talk a little bit more about his business and how it's leveraged the omnichannel solution with NetSuite. So I'll just quickly overview what we're going to talk about today. We'll show about Sellbikes, what challenges they faced, the solution that we put in front of them, what the results were some real-world examples of how they've applied the omnichannel technology to some quite interesting scenarios. I think you'll find that particularly interesting. And we'll also look at the lessons learned and an outlook to the future. And then, of course, with all these webinars, you'll have a chance at the end to ask some questions. Okay, over to you, Michael.
Hi, Rob. Hi, everyone. So Sellbikes started in 2002. It was just a tiny little store in Rockdale in Sydney, operating as a retail outlet and doing some selling on eBay. I started with the company in 2008, and my background is I was an ex-bike racer, so there's the interest in the cycling industry. Definitely a lot of fun for me. And in the past, I've worked in franchise, supervising, and setup. The Sellbikes story really got going through the early 2000s by piggybacking onto the growth of the web, and also going along with the trend as cycling becoming the new golf. You'll see Sellbikes everywhere. We've sold thousands of them, and we even made the BRW Fast 100 list at number 37 a few years ago.
Excellent. Thanks, Michael. So tell us a bit more now about the challenges you faced. Obviously, you were brought into the business in 2008 to help the growth strategy of the business. But yeah, talk us through the challenges.
So we had a lot of challenges managing the disparate systems that we were using, separate systems for e-commerce and the financial accounting and inventory management in the back end. We were wasting a lot of time doing duplicate data entry in different systems. That created errors, and it really reduced our capacity to deal with our customers in an efficient way, in the way that they'd expect. We had a real lack of visibility into our inventory, and there was just no drill down to a granular level on our inventory. The business decisions were being made on a gut feeling, and that was okay while the numbers in the business were small. But now the numbers were becoming large, and any mistakes had a really big impact.
Okay, and could you say that there was a tipping point or something you were aware of at the time which made you think, we need to do this, there must be a better way?
Yeah, I think that we're in the overselling of products. That was one of the things that frustrated everyone in the business so much. I can remember we came back in after a weekend off to find that we'd had a really big weekend, and a particular floor pump, we'd sold over 100 of them over the weekend, and it turned out we only had a few in stock and we couldn't get any more from suppliers. So we spent a lot of wasted time cleaning up that mess of looking for alternative products for the customers that wanted it, and refunding people who didn't want to get a substitute product.
Yeah, so quite a lot of man hours or weeks or days.
Yeah, I'd say 2 or 3 people may have been tied up on that for most of the week, and it just a frustrating experience for everyone.
Yeah. So just give us an idea then of the landscape of your systems before you switched to an omnichannel single system.
Yeah, so we were using MYOB at the point of sale, and we were using that for our inventory receiving. Then we had this open source web platform where the orders were coming in, and the inventory there had no correspondence to the real inventory in the background in MYOB. We didn't have any auto-created links between the products, so it was all a matter of manual entry of updating stock levels on the website.
Right, so a complete manual set of linkages between those different systems.
That's right. So we had a lot of labour tied up in managing that back end of the website, making it kind of replicate what we really had, and obviously that led to a lot of errors.
So what would have happened pre-2009 if a customer bought something on your website and then called you up and said, whoops, I shouldn't have ordered this online, I need to come and pick it up because I actually need it for my race tomorrow morning, and I forgot that tomorrow is Sunday. So how would you have handled that situation back then?
Yeah, that was a difficult process for us back then, because it would have meant, because we were charging credit cards straight away as soon as people ordered, we would have to refund shipping amounts and try and get people to communicate about transactions that were going to be happening in the store that had actually happened online in the web store. So really easy for mistakes to happen and for things to go wrong for the customer.
Yeah. Okay, so looking at now how, what made you realize that you needed to change systems, could you talk us through the decision criteria that you looked at when you came into the business?
Yeah, these are the key hurdles for us that we were looking to overcome. We wanted to have that completely integrated inventory management, so that no matter how a customer wanted to come to us, whether it was in store or online or via mobile, that we could efficiently get the product to them at all of those points. So that involved having single records across our systems that were updating in real time. We wanted a point of sale that could run straight out of that same back end. And we wanted our e-commerce site, most of all, running off those same master records. So everything that's completely integrated. You know, it's really hard when you get down to the last of a high-value bike and you think you've got it there committed for a particular customer, and then you find out that you don't actually have one for them. It was really important for our staff to have clarity about what we had for sale. We wanted that underlying system that could hold everything together, and we wanted to improve the way that we manage our customer relationships.
Good. So then going on to, you know, from the criteria to the actual solution that you chose, could you talk us through this?
So we ended up in early 2009 deciding, based on those criteria, that we'd like to go with NetSuite. We kicked off the project around February, March of 2009, and we were live before the end of that financial year, so around June. It took us another till October 2009, so another few months to bring the e-commerce site online. So that was another great step forward for us, and that gave us our integrated ERP, CRM, the inventory management that we wanted, and most importantly of all, our single view of it. So we put in also our POS terminals for the retail store at that go live time, and that really allowed us to leverage the growth that we'd already had into even more massive growth. So it was a really important decision for the business.
So that integrated retail solution, where all your retail stock just is part of an overall cloud of stock that every system can see, that was a real important thing for you.
It certainly was, yeah.
Good. So moving on to the results and how that allows you to go forward, how that allowed you to go forward from that point. Talk us through these particular impacts that you saw.
So we really found, once we'd implemented the system, that a really efficient growth was possible. We'd removed all the impacts of those human errors that we were having before, where data was being rekeyed, or we were upsetting customers because we didn't have the products that they wanted at the location they needed them. We were able to empower our staff with that anywhere, anytime access, which really increased our productivity. We had a lot of staff move from that situation where they were keying data into disparate systems, moving more into roles that service the customer, and increased our sales. It heavily reduced our IT infrastructure demands. We didn't need to use so much third party. Actually, at the moment, we just have one full-time IT staff member, and we rarely need to outsource our IT. We certainly decreased our card abandonment rates from previous levels, and I think that was really because of two things: the user interface in the new website. It was just a much better experience for our customers, much more seamless experience, and massively improved checkout as well. One of the greatest efficiencies we saw was the cut in the time from the time of the customer's order until the shipping of that order, because we got all of those inventory issues sorted out. So now we're able to ship up to about 600 a day, 600 orders, whereas before we would really max out around the 150 mark because that ability to deal with the inventory was just so much more difficult. So with that drill down capability into, at a granular level into our inventory data, we've been able to increase our inventory turnover, and we've certainly experienced some enormous growth over the last few years with only moderate levels of staff increasing.
Great. So just to sort of recap then, the previous solution you had was this, system of, or three major systems where the data wasn't connected. Now let's look at what the solution looked like post implementing your new omnichannel system. So the key thing here with you as COO and your CEO, Albert, if you can talk to this, Michael.
Yeah, this system that we implemented with a single data source really allowed myself and Albert to gain great insight into the business and look at the reality of what was happening rather than just basing things on a gut feeling. So our point of sale, our customer service staff, our e-commerce site, they're all looking at the one source of data. So it just created massive efficiencies for us.
Yeah.
And it's a great experience for our customers. They're getting that fast service in whatever way they wanted to communicate us, whether it was through the desktop computer, on the phone to the store, or through their smartphone.
And to these sort of ERP points here in this system, the customer is the end point, but NetSuite's ERP is also allowing you to procure. You're procuring stock right at the start, and that just then that stock that you procure, those 100 pumps that you procure, just flow through.
That's right, yeah, because it's that totally relational database.
KPIs, Michael. Wow. Start again. Sorry about that.
No problem. Yeah, so this is an example from our dashboard in the system, a KPI meter. That's one of the things I love about the system. You can look at the data in the way that suits you best, and your team members can do the same. So you can look in the KPI meter format or in straight numbers format, or drill right down to the reports. So in this example here, I can have a look at how last year was compared to the year before last, or this year versus last year. And I can just quickly flick over also to see how, for example, this week is going compared to last week. And the great thing about the system also is you can see those underlined items there, clickable, so you can just keep clicking through those reports to see your totals and then go right down to individual customer records or individual item records and see what's happening.
Excellent. So taking a typical, you're a very seasonal business, cyclings depend on the weather, but give us an example of how that seasonality, you might be able to compare like periods and how that might help you.
Yeah, you certainly can. So a big time of the year for us is in July when the Tour de France is on. People get excited about cycling, and it's very easy to, in that quieter period leading up to the Tour de France, we can see what's been happening in those periods over the last few years and get ready for exceptional growth over that period. And we can see at the granular level what products people are looking for and make our decisions based on that to get the maximum out of those seasonal periods.
Excellent. And then the sort of recap then on this sort of idea of, the dashboard. Maybe you can just talk to how you built this up and what it does for you.
Yeah, so it's fully customizable, and I've personally got my KPIs up top there, and then a couple of the meters over to the right. That's another great format to see the data, and you can really set up anything that's important to you on this dashboard. So I've also got some shortcuts there through to some really important reports for me, and you know, it's because of that customizability, it's really easy to set it up for something that suits you and your business.
Great. So some real world examples now. So customer comes to your website, they put through an order. 20 minutes later, they call you up. Talk us through the scenario.
Yeah, I guess this is maybe it's just typical of cyclists, but maybe not. Maybe a lot of customers are like it. You know, someone like this might be realizing they've got an important race on the weekend, and they'd really like these products at the last minute on a Friday. So they can give us a call and ask us if they can pick that product up in store. And that's really no problem for us, whether we have it in stock in the store or we can quickly ship it over from our warehouse. And they can come into the store, the team in store can see that customer's record and their order record, so it's really easy for them to take care of whatever the customer needs. So in this case, they can just remove the shipping cost that was going to be charged if they're having the item shipped to them, and they can add any other items that the customer finds they need when they arrive in store. Excellent. And finish off the transaction.
So effectively, your sales staff in your store can just intercept a web order before the warehouse has got to it. Let's say 20 minutes after it's been made, they can intercept that order and just grab it and fulfill it from the store.
That's right, and everyone in the whole team can see what's happened.
Yeah, and it's, you know, just disappears from the queue that the warehouse we're going to process.
That's right.
Yeah, right. So cart abandonment, we talked about this great statistic of, you know, reduction of cart abandonment. So this is another great real world scenario, Michael.
That's right. Yeah, when people abandon carts, we can just have those, especially the high value abandoned carts, go through to a report where we can review them, and this can even be done by our staff in store, so it doesn't have to necessarily be our online dedicated staff. So it's a great thing for in-store staff in the quieter times during the week, where they can follow up on abandoned carts.
So this is what the customer would see. I mean, the customers put these two items in their cart, and then your staff would come in and look at the customer record.
That's right. They can identify the items there in the abandoned cart on the customer record, and then depending on what info is available there for them, maybe a customer phone number or an email address, they can contact that customer and really restart the sales process.
Yeah.
So because people may have all sorts of objections or anxieties, maybe they're concerned about what size bike they should really get that suits them, or other products that they've picked compatible together. So our team members can talk them through those issues and ultimately close the sale.
So would you find that, you know, we talk about the web as, you know, price sensitivity on the web and people doing lots of comparison shopping. Do you find that price sensitivity comes up often?
Yeah, definitely. That's a factor in some cases, and so it's really easy for us to empower our staff to negotiate on price, and, you know, if that's one of the hurdles that the customer you know, is trying to overcome.
Great. And I think one of your staff has a great point for, or they have a great sort of terminology for this.
Yeah, that's right. So they view this going through these lists of people who've started off the shopping process with us, and, you know, contacting them and closing the sale. They really view this as just like shooting fish in a barrel for cleaning up those sales.
Excellent. So the Monday mornings become a lot more productive.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, excellent, excellent. Good. So another example then, the starting point here would be, you know, a customer on your website with a live chat. Now, I actually just did a trial live chat on your website yesterday, so it's just a testing one. but can you talk us through how this live chat might actually result in a sale and how that interacts with the system?
Yeah, this really shows the benefits of having a fully integrated system. So the live chat record will be kept on the customer record. So anyone who comes along later to interact with this customer can see exactly what's happened in previous interactions. So we're not starting off from zero again when someone else starts talking to the customer. Because sometimes, you know, as everyone knows, customers will go hot and cold on the purchase. And if you can contact them again, you might be in a position to help them out and close that sale.
So in this case, the live chat creates an open case, and we can see the case, the threaded history of the case here. And in this example, the sale was done closed over the phone or the web, or?
That's right. Yeah. So in this example, the sale was closed over the phone, and the person went away with a great new bike.
Superb. So I think that's a good example where it's not just about people buying on the website or forcing people to add to cart and check out and pay online, where we can have any number of sales scenarios where the customer, the initial contact might be initiated through the website, but they could go through a combination of email interactions, chat interactions, and completion of the sale over the phone or completion of the sale over the web. It could be any sort of combination of these things.
That's right, yeah. And it's really an effective way to deal with the current retail environment where the customer is really driving how they want to interact with the business. And you can't just leave it up to websites to sell your products. You know, you want to be getting your team involved in maximizing that process.
Okay, so moving now into the examples of your point of sale. Customer comes in, maybe they've never bought from you online. So talk us through how this then interacts with the Omnichannel world.
Yeah, so we're using exactly the same system for our point of sale. It's completely integrated. So we're able to accept payments by cash, credit card, etc. And it's a great opportunity for us to grab that customer's details at the point of sale and see if we can convert them into an online customer as well by asking if they want to sign up to our newsletter or other promotional programs. So yeah, really great tool in store.
Good stuff. So it's really about that, making that in-store customer now a permanent online customer that's going to come back to you again and again.
That's right. They may want to just view the material that comes out to them, but they might always shop online as well without coming back to the store.
And they may only have just come into the store to buy a pump or a tube.
That's right. Something that they need in an emergency, and you can end up converting them into a lifetime customer.
So talk us through now the more human impact of having a really integrated omni-channel system, Michael.
Yeah, it's been really great for our team. It's really reduced those repetitive tasks that were, really, if you look at it, they were, almost meaningless back then. They were taking us nowhere, just trying to join up those disparate systems. And like I said before, it enabled a lot of our team to move more into that sales role and more interacting with the customer. And, it's really increased their job satisfaction. It's made the job a lot more rewarding. And, most of us are cycle enthusiasts, and that's what we want to do. We want to talk to people about bikes and everything to do with bikes and how to get them into biking as well and enjoy it.
And that's a great retention statistic, isn't it, for a retailer? I mean, typically you think of retailers as having very transient staff.
That's right, and we've had a lot of loyal staff over a long period, and I think there are the human terms where it's really satisfying, but it's also great economically as well because you're reducing all those costs of rehiring and retraining and all those things that go along with staff turnover.
Okay, so look, we've heard about all of the benefits, heard some real world examples, but what about the bottom line? So this is since 2009, 2010 when you took on board NetSuite.
That's right. So we've really experienced a huge growth in revenue, and that's been really exciting. And I'm really glad we implemented these new systems in order to do that efficiently, because there's no way we could have done that the way we were operating before. And I think really it's that huge growth has come along in spite of, in the last couple of years, our SEO being a little bit under-leveraged as far as the dynamic content goes, and our mobile site as well is a little unleveraged, because the technology has certainly moved along in that period.
Good. So what about your sort of lessons learned then? I guess it's not been all 100% sort of rosy. I mean, you said that there was a few things you'd like to improve already around, for the SEO and the mobiles under-leveraged, but any other examples?
Yeah, I think our point of sale performance at times can be a little slow, just at that point of the end of the transaction, and we're really looking forward to the new solution that's coming online soon, and I think that'll be a great benefit to both of our in-store operations. We've also need to really leverage that SEO content that we have sitting in our website from ratings and reviews, and of course the all-important social media needs some further investment as well.
Yeah, I think on the reviews and ratings point, I think I looked at, you had something like 10,000 reviews and ratings, and the issue there is that they're all visible on the website, but the search engines can't see them. So they're visible to the users and they're helpful to the users, but this this SEO juice that you get from Google by exposing your reviews and ratings is something that's missing. So we're definitely going to be helping you change that soon.
That's right. We're all looking forward to the new e-commerce platform coming online in the next couple of months. It's going to be mobile and tablet responsive, which is a fantastic thing. So many people want to use their mobile and actually check out through mobile now. It's going to give us a much better search feature that can be tuned by us, and it's really going to improve our SEO, picking up the actual dynamic content in those reviews that we've accumulated over the years. It's also going to be a major benefit moving onto those Akamai servers, so we get a much faster site performance. So I think you can really see that, even though we've had that huge growth, there's still immense opportunity in the future, in the very near future. And on the retail side, in our two stores, we're really looking forward to that improved point of sale interface, which is coming soon, and that's certainly going to help us in rolling out new stores.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much, Michael. That brings us to the end of the chat with Michael about Sell Bikes and Omnichannel. I'll hand back to you, Campbell, and hopefully you can see if we've got any questions.
Certainly, Rob. Now, the good news is there have been a number of questions come through, so I'll just run through these in order, and we have plenty of time, hopefully, to deal with them. But as these questions are answered, I'd invite our attendees to continue sending questions through. If we happen to run out of time for whatever reason, I can always pass these questions back to the guys at NetSuite and Michael with Sell Bikes to have them answered via email. So the first question, Rob, is from Kelly, and Kelly asks, this might be specifically more for Michael actually, how long did it take Sell Bikes to implement the NetSuite solution initially?
Yeah, we started off about 3 to 4 months out from our go live date, and that was the objective, to get it done in 120 days, and we were able to go through the project on time, and actually launch on time, so within 120 days. And I think, like, for a company that was at that time, you know, we're a bike shop with a growing online presence. We're really quite a small operation, so that really surprised even me to get that system up and running in that time. And then we decided to do the e-commerce platform after that go live, and we switched over to the new e-commerce that was completely integrated in October of that year, so it was about another 4 months later.
So, Rob, there's a follow-up question there that's come in more recently that kind of ties into that question there. It sounds like Sellbikes have actually gone through a couple of different specific software solutions with NetSuite. How do you define each of those, and what is the movement towards there? Can you break that down into the individual solutions for us?
Sure. So Michael's business started off with our SuiteCommerce site builder solution, and that's been going for 8 or 9 years now. It's been constantly upgraded. We're doing 2 releases a year across the board on our e-commerce and ERP platform, and that's really taken him to this point. We've now in the last couple of years we've heavily invested in new responsive technology, which is based on Twitter's Bootstrap and Backbone jQuery. So it's a very, very cutting-edge front-end solution that sits on top exactly the same way as the solution Michael's business started with, but it sits on top of the NetSuite ERP data model, if you like, and that's really designed to take the solution to the next level. As Michael said, they're under leveraged on mobile, so the solution now is going to be able to go across all devices. It's in the cloud. It's using Akamai's even bigger cloud than the NetSuite cloud, which means that there's actually in Australia something like 25 different Akamai nodes that can serve content.
Fantastic.
So, yeah. So the thing I've got to remind everybody about with the sort of licensing model with NetSuite is that the e-commerce products are licensed exactly the same as the ERP. It's just a subscription. Every year, upgrades are automatically included, and customers will just keep moving forwards on the platform as they go.
Now, Rob, in relation to that, there's been a couple of questions about Magento and NetSuite, or Magento versus NetSuite. Obviously, Magento is quite a dominant platform in terms of its usage. So the first question is, can NetSuite actually be used, or can NetSuite products be used to integrate with a NetSuite platform, or would you be looking to migrate customers off the NetSuite platform? And on top of that, Jordan has also asked, what are the differences in marketing capability between using a Magento platform and using the entire NetSuite platform?
So I think if I understood the first question correctly, was the question to ask whether you can migrate from Magento into a NetSuite e-commerce? Was that the question?
The question was more along the lines of, are there elements of NetSuite that a client could get benefit from without having to migrate from Magento? Could you take parts of NetSuite and combine it with the Magento platform?
Absolutely. So a lot of our customers actually do this, because in the reality of a business is that and Michael's business is a good example of this. They took on board, they went go live with the ERP and the financial solution and the CRM solution. They went live with that in July of the year, and then they didn't go live with the e-commerce until October. In the meantime, they were running their open source e-com solution that was pushing transactions back to NetSuite. Now, a bigger company might take a year or two to get from their existing e-commerce solution to maybe migrate onto the fully integrated solution, or they may choose not to do it. I mean, there's no need to do it. So take an example of Magento. There are commercially available connectors that can connect to Magento's solution and push the orders and customers through to NetSuite. The end result is going to be good, and certainly you can leverage the front end capabilities of NetSuite of Magento in parallel with NetSuite. I think I'd always come back to say that there are still some disadvantages. So if we take the example that Michael talked about, where he had a customer who would call up an hour after the order was placed and amend the order over the phone or say, can I come pick it up? Now, with connectors with external systems, there's always going to be a bit of a time lag between that external website back to the master data, the financials data, which is in the master system. Mm-hmm. So if that customer calls up before that data's been synchronized, what you'll find then is either the order's not in the back-end platform, or you'll find that if you update it in the back-end platform, it's now out of date with what's in the front-end platform. So you have divergence of these records, which I think was one of the pain points that you found, wasn't it, Michael?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's really a huge advantage to be able to do things that are absolutely live.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
So yeah, hopefully that answers the question. I would sort of add to that one more point, which is that the more complex a business is, and growing businesses tend to get more complex, then the more advantage there's going to be to move to an integrated e-commerce, retail, and ERP solution.
Yeah, that's certainly what we've found. Yeah.
Whereas when businesses are growing and they're starting out, Michael's business would not have seen the payback or would not have seen the benefit from taking on NetSuite too early. But if they took it on in 2003 or 2004, they'd have seen the cost, but without as much benefit.
That's right, yeah.
Excellent. Well, on to a couple more questions there. I think that was quite a solid answer. We have another question about the storage and storing all of that data in the cloud. Now, I know that you're shifting hosts, but Michael, have you had any concerns surrounding security at any part of this process, moving all of this material into a cloud-based server?
Definitely before we started the process, when we were looking at a solution, that was one of our questions as well. How secure is our data in the cloud? I guess we had to, at that time, get to a level of comfort with it, that we were happy to go ahead with it. And now I can speak from past experience that we haven't had any challenges at all with the security of data in the cloud. And it's coming up to 5 years of using the system. So, certainly that's something that we, as a company, while I hear people will ask that question, it's not something that within our company we're really worried about anymore, because the experience has shown us that the data is secure.
And if I could talk to, I guess there's the disaster recovery aspect of security, and there's also the confidential aspect of security.
Yeah, that's right.
In the past, when you had your separate systems, I guess you would have had different backup solutions and different security for each one of those.
That's right, and those solutions had to be maintained by us. And I think so. You're taking away when you move over to the cloud. You're taking away some of the tasks and the resources that you had to put into security and data backups and storage and those sorts of things.
I remember running my own business a few years ago. Friday afternoons backups.
Yeah, that's right.
We don't talk about that anymore.
No, and the challenge is if you forgot to do them and something went wrong.
Exactly.
Well, fantastic. Look, I think we've got time for another question. This one also relates to data, but not in the sense of security, more in the sense of that transition. So you were talking before about how long it took you to implement NetSuite in the first place. But what was the requirement as far as the actual data was concerned? Did you need to massage or clean that data a lot, Michael? And how was that performed? Was it handled on your part, or was it something that NetSuite handled for you?
We mostly handled that part of it ourselves. So with help from NetSuite. Mm-hmm. So we went through the process of training on how to do that. And I think probably with not a lot of us being very technical, in the business. That process really ended up being relatively straightforward. It was just a matter of exporting the CSVs out of our old system for customer records and for the inventory items that we had. And then we actually cleaned up the data in that CSV format and then imported it into NetSuite. So ultimately a pretty straightforward process.
Fantastic. Well, look, I think we're still running just ahead of time, so we may as well use the last 5 minutes for a couple of more questions. And that will give our attendees, if they have any last minute questions as well, an opportunity to shoot those across. Now, I have written down here a question from David. You were mentioning before, Michael, about your customer service personnel and you being able to use a new dashboard to handle customer inquiries and issues as they arise. Is that something that you would train your customer service staff across every single channel? Say you take someone and you teach them how to use chat, you teach them how to use the telephone, and you teach them how to serve customers in the store. Is that the way that you would approach it, or do you have specialist customer service personnel?
We have specialists in the store who I'd say have a good feel for handling that sort of online inquiry. So maybe not necessarily live chat, but certainly for the phone calls and interactions by email that come in from the online forms in our web store platform. And then we have customer service people who are really able to handle everything. So they're trained in all the aspects. So dealing with the customer face-to-face or over the phone or through live chat, they can do it all.
Fantastic.
I think that example also of how your staff on the Monday morning can handle, any staff in any of your retail stores can handle an e-com inquiry or an e-commerce abandoned cart. I think it shows how that they can become a bit more multifunctional in that omni-channel system.
Yeah, that's right, and it keeps it interesting for them as well. They're not just talking to customers face to face. They get all these other opportunities as well.
I can only assume it would help promote efficiency as well, as you're saying there, Michael. Keep your staff very engaged as well as they're working across multiple parts of the business.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, we've just had another question come in, this one from Sushant, and he asked, were you able to develop some sort of ROI analysis around the implementation, and how quickly were you able to make good on that investment?
I think the overall cost, when you compare it to what we were doing before, is while the upfront costs may be a little bit higher. Actually, on the e-commerce side, I'd say it's probably about the same, no matter what solution you go with. It's maybe in the ERP and it's a little bit higher, but you get so many advantages and the opportunity to to leverage the things that you now know about that you didn't know about before. I think you can waste a lot of time making gut feeling decisions, and I think we did in our old systems. There just wasn't the capability there for us to grow the business with those old back-end systems. So I'd consider it more an investment in our business rather than a cost. Like most definitely, it's been a great investment in our business.
Sure. And another one quickly from Sushant, just before we finish up. He asks, and this is maybe confirming something you've already covered, Michael and Rob, you're thinking of moving the platform again or spinning up the platform again onto new software that will allow you to have a mobile redesign of the website. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's right. So the new version of the website, Suite Commerce, we actually launch into that project ourselves from from tomorrow,
Mm-hmm.
which is very exciting, and that's expected to go live in June. And that platform, fully integrated with the rest of our system, will be operating on the very latest technology. So I'm really looking forward to some great things for our, in that user interface, like the faceted search capabilities, and the auto resizing, and for no matter what device people are using, whether it's tablets or mobiles, and just giving people a great experience.
And just a point there for me is that the platform that Michael's re-platforming the e-commerce front end on is a very web